Welcome back to Adventures in Search and Rescue in the mountains of northern New Mexico. In this episode, we're not going to talk about any mission in particular, but in general how search and rescue works in New Mexico. And this will, for the purpose of time, be somewhat abbreviated. In New Mexico, per law, the New Mexico Search and Rescue Act, all missions are run according to the ICS system, the Incident Command System. This puts the incident commander with absolute responsibility and absolute authority to run the mission. In New Mexico, the search and rescue is done under the authority of the New Mexico State Police, thus avoiding any issues of jurisdiction with different county sheriffs. Running search and rescue through county sheriffs is generally okay. The problem is when it crosses the jurisdictional line from one county to the other. The original sheriff does not have authority to operate in the other county's jurisdiction. With the state police, we avoid that problem. Under the IC, for simplicity purposes today, we have an operations section chief and a plans section chief. The plans section chief develops the strategy, that is where he wants or she wants the search to be conducted. They prepare task assignments and they hand those to the operations section chief, and he or she plans the tactics. Do they want a line search? How often do they want sound sweeps and other aspects of it? Now, those two people report directly to the incident commander. One of the advantages of the ICS is that it can expand or contract depending upon the size or the complexity of the mission. Normally in a first operational period, it's fairly simplistic. It's an operations section chief, a plan section chief, the IC, and on occasion, what we have is a safety officer. Now in the schematic, which I'm not going to show you because I don't have the computer skills to do that, is technically above the operations and plans section chief, but those section chiefs don't report to the officers. So we have a safety officer, and they're frequently called, and their job is, of course, to determine all the aspects that go into safety: the weather, the conditions, the travel to and from. Do the searchers need helmets? Do they have enough water in their packs? What are the weather conditions for the next 12 or 14 or 24 hours? And to monitor the weather during the mission and call, as you've heard in other episodes, incoming storms to the IC so that when they act properly, they can take care of the people in the field. Now, after the task assignments are given, the teams are briefed on what their assignment is. Typically, the IC or the operations section chief gives an overall briefing to all of the volunteers that have shown up as to information about the subject. Hopefully, it's correct information: name, age, clothes, conditions, how long the person's been out, what background they might have, other information which would be of use to the teams in the field. And they go out and they do their assignments. They have radio communication, and oftentimes there's a communication leader established. Sometimes it's just an experienced communications person with sufficient equipment and really long antennas they can attach to the radios in their truck or vehicle, as the case might be. And almost all communication, goes through the communications person to the teams, and from the teams back to incident base in that manner. The communications section person keeps a unit log of all transmissions, the time, the team, and what was said. Each of the other members, that is the IC, ops and plans, and safety officer, each keep a unit log of things that they have done throughout the mission, so that later on, if there needs to be a review of it, there's information available to determine who did what and when. There is much more to this, but for the moment, that's enough for this episode in Adventures in Search and Rescue. In the following episode, I'm going to talk about various hikes in the area of the Sangre de Cristos outside of Santa Fe and in the Pecos Wilderness. See you next time.